That Don't Sound Right is a podcast about talking the way we did before the internet, when you could not prove anyone right or wrong.
All the expertise was contained in the people involved with the conversation. I'm Peter.
I'm Cecil, and I hope you enjoy our conversations. And as you listen, if you find yourself silently saying, that don't sound right, send us a comment. You're one of us.
Dogs. But I wonder if one dog yawns, does the other dog yawn? Is it similar?
Before we ask that,
Welcome back to another episode of That Don't Sound Right, a podcast about talking. We're your co-hosts. I'm Peter Billman.
I'm Cecil Davis.
We're just trying to have a conversation here in the Camel City Studio Annex without Googling or fact-checking each other. Those things kill the conversation.
It does. You killed the conversation this week?
This past week, I haven't, but someone started up a conversation with me.
Really?
And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Oh, right.
Yes, they're going to.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was a coworker, and she IM'd me on the super secret Volvo text hotline. I didn't know she listened until recently.
That's always nice.
So thanks for listening, and I want to use your topic. I thought your topic was awesome, and we're going to talk about it today. Cecil kind of knows what we're going, but he kind of doesn't.
How does that make you feel when someone listens that you don't know that listen?
It just makes me feel great. It's just, well, I'm actually very, very, very surprised.
Right. First, I'm very surprised. What are you doing? You listen to everything else out there?
Right.
Yeah. And then I'm always very humbled.
Yeah, I'm humbled and grateful.
Yeah, I'm grateful that people.
And then she took the time to even send me an idea.
Yeah, that's good.
Sounds like she's all in.
Yeah, that's always fun when somebody's all in. So what's the topic? Peter's yawning on the podcast into the microphone.
And I'm waiting to see if Cecil yawns.
I'm not going to yawn today.
You're going to yawn during this podcast.
That was a manufactured yawn.
Doesn't matter.
Why?
I think it works.
Really? The same.
So what don't sound right is that yawns are contagious.
Do you think they're contagious?
I do.
Really?
Oh yeah. Because I've seen it happen. I've got empirical evidence that I've yawned or someone else has yawned and it's caused someone else to yawn. And you're going to yawn.
That's contagious?
You're going to yawn in this.
I'm suppressing the yawn, right?
I know you are. You're holding it back.
But is that really contagious?
Yeah. Well, what's the definition of contagious, Mr. Anatomy expert?
I have no idea. I have no idea what contagious. I mean, I know what it is.
Right. I mean, contagious isn't necessarily always a bug, right? Or a bacteria or a virus that moves rapidly from one person to another, right? You can say their laughter was contagious, right?
Right.
Right. I could be laughing and then for some reason you start laughing because my
mood was contagious.
Right. Lots of things are contagious.
Yes.
Yawns are contagious. So I take it you would say that don't sound right, that you don't think they're contagious.
I think they're I think we'll get down to semantics in this.
Okay.
But yes, I do think they're contagious if one person yawns, another person will tend to yawn.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything being sent from one person to the other.
Right.
Other than it's a reflex in the other person.
Sure.
Is that they've seen something and now their body recognizes it and they're reproducing it for some reason.
Exactly.
So in that definition, yes, I think they're contagious.
Yeah. Okay, good. But why is that? What is it about the yawn that's contagious?
Right.
Causes someone else to yawn.
Because if you're talking with your hands, the other person doesn't necessarily start talking with their hands.
Right. Cecil's over here talking with his hands.
Right. Or
my hands.
Yeah, or if somebody like brushes their hair back and the other person doesn't necessarily brush their hair back.
Right.
But I have found myself mimicking, like if I'm sitting and talking with someone long enough, have you ever noticed that you start mimicking each other in how you're sitting or your posture or how you're kind of leaning into the conversation or not leaning into the conversation? I've noticed this mostly with my brother.
Okay, y'all mimic each other?
Yeah, and maybe this is because we grew up together, but he and I will end up...
Being brothers and all.
Yeah, being brothers and all. That we almost end up mimicking each other's, just the way we are using our,
just your
talking with our hands or just the way we're sitting or whatever.
Your mannerisms.
Mannerisms,
okay.
Thank you. I couldn't think of a word.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, has anyone else observed this in you two?
No, it's just my observation.
Your observation.
It's a singular data point.
So the question is, why, if we can agree that when one person yawns, it causes another person to yawn in the group. Why is that? What is Is there something of utility to that?
Do you think it is? I think you have some thoughts about this.
Well, the listener, my coworker,
what does she think?
Well, it comes from our ancestry on how we used to behave and work together as a village or a tribe.
She's gone deep on this.
The idea is that a group of people, when they hunted together, hunted best when everyone was well rested.
Okay.
And so when one person yawned, it caused the other person to yawn to trigger a response that the whole group should take a nap now, should sleep, should rest.
Wow. I would not have thought of that.
No, neither would I. And that the whole group now is going to stop and rest and take a nap because everyone's yawning. Everyone's yawning. We're all tired. Why are we going out hunting wildebeest right now? We're all tired. Let's take a nap. Let's get all well rested. And now, after the nap, everyone's well rested and they now have a successful hunt because everyone's energized. They've all had the nap. And it all started because one person yawned. And it was a triggered response in our brains. Our brains are wired this way to respond in the same way to a yawn to get us to rest together so we can hunt together or gather together for that matter. I'm sure if you're the gatherer part of the village, you're much a better gatherer if you're well rested. You can see things clearer. You're willing to go a little bit further. You're willing to gather just a little bit longer. What do you think about that, Cecil?
I could buy that. But can you imagine applying that to modern times? Like if you're in a meeting.
Yeah.
And one person yawns.
Yeah.
And another person yawns.
Yeah.
And then the leader of the meeting says, you know what? We're all really tired. We should all go take a nap and we'll come back and we'll be refreshed to this task. Can you imagine if we did that in modern times? How much more productive we could.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Maybe we don't go take a nap, but maybe we just take a 10-minute break.
That's what I'm saying.
We get up, go walk out. What did you and I do between recording episodes? We got up out of our chairs. I walked you outside. We looked at the scout. We had some coffee.
The scout's looking really good.
Oh, well, thank you.
For those of you who are following along at home, the scout is coming together.
And if folks still want to buy the podcast, I will still take you up on the offer because there's plenty of work to be done. But yeah, we could take a break. It was just that clue that with the group needs a rest.
I think she's on to something.
I think she is too.
I think we could bring this into modern day. And if you're in a meeting and someone yawns in that meeting, the leader of the meeting should say, you know what? If two people yawn, not just one. If someone yawns and it's contagious, the leader says, you know what? We need to take 5.
Exactly.
We're stopping. We need to take 5. I'm being serious. And so we need to take 5. Everybody get up, take a walk. We'll come back. We'll hit it refreshed.
Yeah. I mean, that would be, you would have to be really tuned into that as the person leading the meeting.
Yeah.
You'd have to be observant.
Yeah.
But what could it hurt?
We could try it.
We should try it in our own meetings. So here's the other thing that
a lot of people yawn in my meetings. I'll be stopping a lot of meetings.
That's right. Well, maybe you need to shorten your meetings.
I keep them as short as I possibly can.
Well, there's another thing that I was thinking about is what other animals yawn?
A cat will yawn.
Yeah.
A dog.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's contagious with them.
I wonder.
Like if they were hunting in a pack and one of them yawned, the leader of the pack would say, you know what?
It's time to take a nap.
Time to take a nap.
Or, I mean, let's say you have 2 dogs. I mean, you only have 1 dog. I have 0 dogs, but my neighbors have 2 dogs. But I wonder if one dog yawns, does the other dog yawn? Is it similar?
Before we ask that, we do need to point out there's a whole podcast and the whole reason Peter does not have a dog.
Yeah, that's right.
That'd be a good thing to see if, get several dogs together.
I mean, I bet you we could go to the animal shelter and ask
just
people
sit there. It's like, can we watch and see if your dog's yawn?
Does everyone yawn at the same time? What other animals yawn, though, Cecil? Can you think of any?
I bet like primates yawn.
Okay.
Gorillas, orangutans, things like that.
Yeah, I bet you they do. I wonder if it's primarily hunting type of animals.
Yeah,
does a cow yawn?
I wouldn't think a bird would yawn.
Bird wouldn't yawn.
What a thing.
No, maybe not. Yeah.
That's a good question. Who yawns?
Who yawns? Like a giraffe.
What is the purpose of a yawn?
That's another good question.
I'm asking you, what is the purpose of it?
I had always assumed that it was the body's response to slowing down. And and that oxygen levels were dropping. And it kicked off the yawn response. It just forces you to take a deep breath.
All right.
Just forces you to take a deep breath, get some oxygen in your lungs, and keep you going.
I can buy that. So far, I've bought into the whole thing.
The Bielan effect is in full force.
Now, I have another theory as to why we yawn.
Yeah.
Well, not why we yawn, but why it's contagious.
Okay. But why? How about let's go back to why we yawn. What's your thought about why we yawn?
I think we yawn.
What's the physiological purpose of a yawn in any kind of animal?
I think your body is taking in additional oxygen for some reason. Something has happened. Like you said, you've either slowed down to the point that you're breathing at a slower rate and your body's like, okay, I need to take in a little bit more. You're not going to make me yawn, man. Your body takes in Peter is trying to force a yawn at this point. Your body's trying to take in more oxygen.
Yeah. Okay.
For some reason.
Yeah.
And it's just, but you don't continue to yawn. Like it's usually a singular, you might yawn a couple times.
Well, I've been in a meeting where I've yawned several times.
Were you sleeping? Because this gets to my other point of what I think a yawn is.
Yeah, I don't know if I was sleepy or not. I think I was maybe really relaxed or just.
Yeah. Were you yawning in response to someone else's yawn?
No. But I mean, I remember some occasions, and not even necessarily meeting. I might be at work, and I start yawning. I was like, God, why am I so tired?
I've noticed that sometimes when I'm riding in a car with somebody, I'll yawn.
Is it while you're driving or while you're sitting?
Well, I'm just sitting, just riding. I'll yawn. But I think the other reason we yawn, or why yawns are contagious, is that it's a self-conscious response.
Self-conscious response?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So you see someone yawn, and then suddenly you feel like a little uncomfortable in the situation, so then you yawn. I think it's
Really?
Yeah, I think
people are you trying to make them feel welcomed into the situation?
Maybe you're trying to make, or you feel I think part of it is like self-conscious response.
You're trying to fit in.
Maybe you're trying to fit in, or you feel uncomfortable all of a sudden, and so, or I've noticed that I yawn if I'm feeling uncomfortable in a social situation sometimes, or if I'm feeling nervous, I will tend to yawn.
Really? Nervousness?
Yeah, I think I have yawned, I think, out of just
anxiety. Really?
I think. I'll have to go back and test that theory. But like, I'll notice like if I'm in a situation and the conversation's kind of lagging, that is when I'll yawn.
That's the worst time to yawn.
I know. But it's almost like, if somebody twists their hair, like if you have hair and you twist your hair, I think a yawn can actually be like a self-conscious.
Kind of a fidgety response.
Fidgety response.
Interesting. I don't think, I would not put that.
I like the hunter response better though.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, that's better. But I do think people yawn out of self-consciousness.
It might be interesting to talk to some animal experts about those animals that yawn if they're all hunters.
That's a good theory, man.
If they're all hunters.
Yeah. I have yawned while hunting animals.
I've slept.
I have slept.
And I'm sure that's when they all walk by.
100%.
Like, do deer and goats yawn?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
We've got a lot of research to do.
Wow.
We need to send it off to the TDSR research team. I think we'll get some mail on this one. Our animal episodes tend to get
They really do pull in the people, don't they?
Yeah, especially the cat and dog enthusiasts will write in.
About the yawning.
A dog can really yawn large. If you ever watched them.
Oh yeah, they drop that. Well, that's the other thing is why do we open our mouth so big to yawn? Why isn't the yawn reflex? Just take a deep breath.
Is the yawn cross? You're not going to make me yawn.
Keep going. You'll yawn before the end of the day.
Is the yawn contagious across species? Like if a dog yawns, will a person yawn?
That's a good question.
I don't know. This topic has got a lot more questions.
Or even more so, will the dog yawn after the human yawns?
I don't know.
You should sit around Hazel and watch.
Sit around Hazel and see if she'll yawn.
Have you seen Hazel yawn?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When does she usually yawn? When she wakes up. And she's waking up.
Yeah.
So that's taking a deep breath.
Yeah.
To wake herself up.
Yep. That's
interesting.
What she usually yawns. But I usually yawn when I'm going, like, if I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
I think I yawn more in social situations than I would just sitting around the house.
Okay. All right.
I'd be much more likely to yawn at a meeting than I would just if I was just sitting and watching TV late at night.
When you get nervous, do you stop breathing?
No.
Or do you stop breathing deeply? Do you kind of?
No. I know that that's a symptom with some people, but no.
Okay. Because, that would cause a yawn, I would think.
Yeah. No, I think I would yawn. I think I yawn more in social situations than I do just sitting by myself.
But still a social situation. So you are cueing the group to take a rest.
Right. Maybe I'm
Because it's time to take a rest. All y'all need to take a nap because we're going hunting in a little while.
Maybe I'm yawning because I'm like, all y'all are bothering me at a subconscious level. I need for this group to break up for a little while.
If your coworkers are listening, they'll know.
If I yawn at church now, everybody's going to think, gosh, man, he's...
Yeah. This is going to be rough on the pastor watching us yawn.
I know. I'll yawn during a church service.
You will?
I've noticed that. Like, there's been some mornings when I'm sitting there in a service and I've really got to like drop my head, look like I'm praying. Which is really that is the church response to either falling asleep, right? If you feel sleepy,
yeah,
or yawning or something like that, you drop your head, right? And everybody's like, oh, well, he's.
That's how you mask it.
But yeah, I have found that sitting still in church, I will tend to yawn. Now that we really have got into this topic, I bet the most yawning I'll do is when I'm sitting still in church.
Yeah.
It's early. I haven't fully woken up sometimes. And I'll sit there really still because, when you get into the sermon, you're not moving for a bit. I mean, at the beginning of the service, you're up and down, up and down. Once I kind of when my breathing kind of slows down, I'm sitting there, I'm listening to the sermon, I can really...
Yeah, I found that to be true when I'm in a classroom situation, training situation where, I'm sitting there, I'm trying not to yawn for a long time. Maybe this is the response. Maybe it is a cue that we need to get up and get going. Maybe it's a cue not to go take a nap, but to get up and get going because you're wasting energy just sitting there. I'm not saying it's a waste of time to do what we're doing, but just your body's response is, hey, you need to get moving. Yep. You need to start getting something going. You need to go hunting. Maybe it's a cue for the group to go hunting.
Right.
Y'all are just sitting around. Go get up and go hunt and gather.
I think there's different kinds of yawns.
Yeah.
I think there's the one that says you need to take a nap, and the others that say you need to get up and move.
Right. And then, because like the dog, when the dog wakes up, the yawn gets them going.
This is like the original Apple Watch.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So the Apple Watch now, if you sit too long, you can program your Apple Watch to tell you to move. And so it'll give you
do you have a watch?
No.
Okay.
But it'll buzz you and say, now it's time to move. Like, especially if you have a sedentary job.
Yeah.
It'll buzz you and say, now, walk around for 5 minutes.
I'm telling you, what if we did that when we yawned? Here's an experiment for the week.
What's that?
And whenever you yawn, just get up and go.
Now, my dad would do that at work. So if he was up doing office work, now he had a very active job. He was up most of the day. But if he would go into his office and be doing any type of paperwork, if he began to yawn, he would go back and do something physical.
Okay, yeah.
Because he knew he just knew that if he sat there long enough, he could go to sleep.
Maybe it's a survival response.
Yeah. So a yawn for him would trigger him to go out on the production floor again.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So while it don't sound right that yawns are contagious, it's starting to sound more right that yawns are contagious.
I like the original person who wrote in's theory.
Yeah.
But it's triggering something, and I think we need to make it a modern habit.
We don't need an Apple Watch to tell us to yawn. You just need your neighbor.
Yeah. And if it happens during a meeting, whoever's leading the meeting, this is a TSR advice right here. We might even write a book about this. If it happens during a meeting and you're a meeting leader,
break it up.
Yeah, react. Do something to it. Yeah. If you got people yawning, then...
But I think you need to at least have 2 people yawn. Yeah. Not just the one.
Just one.
Like if you're sitting in my meeting in my class and you're yawning, I'm not going to do it. But if you do it and then a couple other people do it, all right, then it's time to do it.
It's time to...
Because you're just going to yawn anyway. And don't do it if I do it, because I'm just going to yawn anyway. Do it if more than one person yawns.
Anyway, we were talking about this, my brother and I. It's like if you go to a corporate event, like a multi-day corporate event.
Yeah.
Usually those days are fairly packed.
Right.
And why is that? Why do you think companies really pack those corporate events? Like if it's a training event or a national meeting, they really pack it because they're trying to be wise with their time. They're trying to pack a lot of content in. I'm asking you.
Oh, no, I believe that's it.
Because a lot of times you're going from 8:30 in the morning until 10 at night. I mean, I know you have done that before, definitely.
No, especially if people are traveling from long distances and you don't see these people that often,
right?
Then you want to get as much face time as you can You
Right.
want to get as much value out of having them travel. I think the really well-planned events make sure that people are up and moving more often with other people so that there's more interactions instead of just sitting in classroom after seminar, after class, after, speaker. There's a lot more interaction. Those are the good ones.
Well, I think you need to now build in these yawn times where you get up, have people move around. And like for me at a conference, I need downtime.
Yeah.
I mean, I need time to myself.
Oh, right.
I mean, I think it actually be more productive, especially for your more introverted employees, if you build in a couple of hours of just like, you don't have anything to do during this time. Just go and recharge and then come back.
Right.
And I could be much more interactive at that point than I would if I just have to go nonstop.
I was just at this training seminar, and their philosophy is really a lot. We had many more breaks than I'm used to.
Oh, good.
But the breaks were go do this. So one break was go outside, walk around. Another break was go out with somebody else and walk around. Another break was send a text to somebody thanking them for something.
Was this in America? Or was this
it was
outside
here. No, it was here.
Really?
Yeah, it was the Center for Creative Leadership over in Greensboro.
Nice.
Another one was just to close your eyes and think about something that brought you joy. Just do that.
Was one of them go buy a gift card for someone?
It was not. It was give them cash.
I think sounds like a great meeting.
It was very, I mean, I wanted to kind of replicate that in my own work life.
When I was in the office daily, because I work from home now, I would walk every afternoon.
Okay.
I would get out, even if it was cold.
After lunch or during lunch?
Like at 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
I would walk.
Okay.
And that would help me because by that time it's after lunch, your body's kind of, things are kind of slowing down, and it would give me just what I needed to kind of make that final push through the day.
Yeah, I would think it'd be good to do that in the morning too.
Yeah.
To get some bright sunlight or bright light. I was telling you about this app that helped me with jet lag. And one of the key ingredients to fighting jet lag is being exposed to bright light or sunlight at the right time and not being exposed to it at the right time.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in sunlight.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was telling me about a friend who was having some issues like with seasonal affective disorder. They lived in Alaska.
Oh, man.
Which was, this I think is a common problem.
Yeah, I would think so.
But one of the things is that rain or shine, snow, sub-freezing temperatures, get out in the sunlight if there was any sunlight to be had on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Get out, walk, be in the sunlight. So I'm not sure how we got from yawn to sunlight, but here we are. I love this theory. I think we should write a book.
Well, we'll get my coworker involved.
Yeah, the yawn effect.
That's right. And how to use it to your advantage.
So we're not sure how many of y'all were yawning while you listen to this.
Cecil is yet to yawn. I'm very disappointed.
I have not yawned yet. I think it's because these are fake yawns on your side.
Yeah, well, that'd be another experiment to see if you can induce someone else's yawn, even with a fake yawn.
Right. Plus, I was very interested in this episode. So
that's right. You were not gonna yawn,
and we took an appropriate break.
We did. That helped.
Yeah.
We burned bright.
All right. It doesn't sound right, but you've come to the end of another That Don't Sound Right.
And before we close, we want to thank everyone for listening. If this is your first time and didn't yawn and enjoyed the conversation, would you consider hitting the subscribe button on the platform you listen with? Also, if you're a longtime listener, give us that rating. Leave us a review so others can easily find us and join the conversation.
All right, That Don't Sound Right is a production of TDSR Podcast in conjunction with Camel City Studios. I'm your co-host and sound engineer, Cecil. Peter is your web designer and your other host. Camille is your barista. Emily does your graphic design. Ella does your Instagram. Georgia tests your merchandise. Britt is our international brand ambassador. And as always, listener number one is Scott. So until next week, keep talking.
And stay curious.